15 seconds. That's how long it took to turn an $899 million coastal fortress into a smoking hole. You clicked for the strike, stay for the blueprint. We'll walk you through how a decoy dock, a Kuga-E passive radar, and Yugo mini-subs got played by a system of systems, SLQ, 32 ghost signatures, SPY, 6 data fusion, Link 16 synchronization, and a Reaper riding a digital corridor. The fourth Hellfire didn't chase the pier, it hunted the vent shaft. Want to see how electronic deception flips hardened defenses into liabilities? You're in the right place. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
Flipping story out of the South China Sea as a U.S. Navy helicopter and a fighter jet have crashed. Helicopter and a fighter jet from the aircraft carrier, the USS Nimitz, crashed separately, only 30 minutes apart, after assigned to the Battle Cats of Helicopter Maritime Strike Squadron. 73 went down in the water.
If the dock was the shield, why did the shield become the beacon? Start at the waterline. A reinforced 200-meter dock with meter-thick concrete and blast skirts to shrug off shaped charges. A Kuga-E passive radar ashore, ears open, no transmission to target it back. 2 Yugo-class mini-subs weaving in the shoals, slow and quiet, ready to nose up on anything that breaks the surface. Each piece had a job. The dock took the punch. The radar cued the air threat. The subs screened the lanes. But sensors judged the world through one slice. Passive radar hunts reflections from broadcast TV, comm towers, and civilian bands riding off a moving airframe, but it doesn't read what doesn't reflect. The dock hid bodies and crates, not the draft of the fans or the draw of the vents. The mini-subs guarded channels and culverts, not the vertical column above the pier. You get coverage by domain, not by truth. Those seams matter. The Kuga-E promised low probability of intercept tracking and the comfort that comes with "we're listening, not shouting." In a deception fight, that comfort is the risk. If you assume the net hears all, you defend to its edges and ignore the blind geometry overhead. A passive set makes a cone of silence straight up. That isn't myth. It's a byproduct of how it correlates energy across baselines. A planner can mark it, pace to it, and ride it.
Of the South China Sea while conducting routine operations. They go on to say, from the aircraft carrier U.S. Nimitz. Separately, at 3:15 p.m., a Super Hornet fighter assigned to the Fighting Red Cock Fighter Squadron 22 also went down in the waters of the South China Sea while conducting routine operations from Nimitz.
Meanwhile, hardened sites talk even when they say nothing. Cooling fans thrum at steady bands. Satellite uplinks chirp on fixed schedules with telltale timing. Vent shafts bleed heat and moisture, pulling cool air and pushing out warm waste. None of these alone screams bunker. Fused, they start to trace volume, flow, and purpose, like footprints on wet concrete. Offshore, a Romeo dips into the wind. The crew isn't hunting glamour. They sniff the air column with a multispectral turret, sample temperature, water vapor, and particulates downwind of the pier. The readout shows a consistent thermal lift a few degrees above ambient, pulsing with a cycle that matches industrial cooling hardware. Mundane physics. Hot air rises. Wind carries. The plume says more mass underground than topside. Modern ISR reads patterns, not single pings. It looks for cadence, cross-checks bands, and hunts for correlations that repeat under stress. When a passive radar creates a quiet chimney overhead, that chimney becomes a timeline you can exploit. You don't need exotic stealth if the enemy's own coverage draws a path through the sky for you. You need timing and a clean, boring profile that fits their expectations everywhere else. As the surface decoy grows more robust, it pulls attention like a magnet. Guards stack near the pier head. Cameras track the boat lanes. Maintenance crews harden bollards and lay fresh riprap. The defense orients to defend the weight it can touch, while the real key is the airflow path that keeps the buried rooms alive. Protect the mass, and you miss the breath. So the outline comes into focus without a shot fired.
Both crew members successfully ejected and were safely recovered by search and rescue assets assigned to that carrier strike. On live now from Fox, these two separate incidents happening just roughly 30 minutes apart, the U.S. fleet said, which is safe and accounted for at this time. The Navy has not released any additional information about weather conditions.
Ellen hears the hum where nothing should hum. RF logs a pulse train that rides commercial satellites at regular intervals. Thermal sees a plume the jungle can't hide. The dock stands proud, and yet the map that matters is drawn by what leaks out, not what sits on top. The fortress was not beaten by brute force. It traced itself in heat, air, and routine comms, and that trail led straight to the weak seam. If the site could sketch its own silhouette, the next step was simple. Don't hit the picture, rewrite it.
Air to surface, and you put all those things together, and this is an attacking force. This isn't a defending force. It may be a deterrent. Is there a timeline? Is there an objective? The president, like others before him, has got quite a lot of leeway when it comes to ordering, a means of identifying the threat, warning the people on board what was happening, then members of the Coast Guard.
What happens when the radar sees a fight that isn't there? Start with the stack. An SLQ-32 on the flank paints the screen with crafted noise and tidy false returns. A spy-class sensor suite sifts the sea of dots, ranks confidence, and filters clutter. Link 16 stitches hull, drone, and hello into one clear mind. You get a fused picture, or you get fed one. Every sensor lives by rules. Gate thresholds, Doppler windows, track while scan updates. If you learn those habits, you can grow tracks that look right enough to pass the first glance. Meanwhile, the real strike rides in the space those rules leave open. Not stealth by myth, stealth by timing. Ghosts are born from timing, angle, and energy. You throw a pulse at the edge of the lobe so the amplitude breathes like distance. You stagger returns on the cadence the scope expects, so that aircraft accelerates and turns within normal limits. You bind a few of them into a loose group, offset by seconds, like a section stepping down a coast. Believable, but empty. On Link 16, you share only the bones that matter. Track number, heading, quality, and intent tags move fast, faster than a human can brief.
This morning, in what U.S. officials call a highly provocative move, the Pentagon says 2 Venezuela military planes flew near a U.S. Navy ship. The Pentagon last night claiming the Venezuelan flights were designed to interfere with our counter-narco-terror operations.
The drone gets a course tweak in real time without anyone talking on voice. The surface plot stays calm. The air net pushes true cues to the shooter and holds the noise off the firing chain. One net, many eyes, one trigger path. Watch how the shore reacts. The false formation blooms 50 kilometers west, just inside the edge of coverage. Battery crews swing tubes and arrays toward the bright quadrant. Watchstanders do the right thing. They chase duty. They call out bearings and elevation. They lock onto returns that walk like fighters and breathe like a raid. The EW package feeds them a diet they were trained to eat. In a modern fight, the kill chain shrinks when platforms share track quality. You cut minutes down to seconds when the net carries trusted data. Deception grows when you can plant many cues at once, each one simple, altogether hard to ignore. It's like juggling. One ball is easy, 12 are work. You can only watch so many with 2 eyes and 1 scope. So the corridor opens by workload, not magic. Operators fix on the busiest quadrant because it screams for help. The quiet sector stays quiet by design. The Reaper rides that lane, altitude trimmed to the passive chimney, speed held to match local patterns, signature tucked under the baseline. No stunts. Just the path the enemy's own picture suggests is safe. At the pier, the first Hellfire breaks the decoy skin, the second cracks the spine, the third walks the line of empty crates and fake blast walls and turns them to driftwood. The fourth is the one that matters. It rides a thermal seam that others missed, a clean contrast that cuts through mist and smoke. The aim point isn't flashy, half a meter of dark mouth breathing warm air. The missile dives into the vent, 15 seconds from reveal to collapse. You can debate tools all day, EW suites, phased arrays, data links, but the core is simple. When you can write to the enemy's picture as fast as you read it, concrete turns to signage and radars turn to mirrors. The site doesn't just fail because you hid better. It fails because the map in their head stops matching the ground under their feet, and they keep trusting the map. Concrete can lie. Data rarely does. In a data-first fight, heavy walls and proud arrays become signposts when you can write to the enemy's picture as fast as you read it. That's the shift you just watched. Control the network, and you steer the fight. You want more breakdowns on EW and data fusion, how false cues pull guns, how shared track speed kills. Subscribe, and comment your take. Is deception now the main arm of defense or offense? Comment your choice below. The new high ground is the network. Learn it, or fight uphill forever. If you want to understand the tactical mindset that wins, subscribe now.